Fantasy video games are incredibly hard to get right. So the fact that most of the best games of all time are fantasy games is astonishing. The Legend of Zelda, The Elder Scrolls, The Witcher, God of War, the list goes on and on. Most games only need to worry about having engaging gameplay, while others build everything around their stories. But the most crucial part of a fantasy game is the world in which it takes place. Of course, that's not the only thing to worry about when making a fantasy game, but those categories are what makes up the three pillars games have to get right. So today, I'm going to compare and analyze Forspoken and Hogwarts Legacy's story, gameplay, and most importantly, world. If you missed the prompt at the start, this essay is being written on the 18th of January, so I'm yet to play either game, but this video should be up by the time you're all playing Forspoken. Starting with gameplay, and more specifically, the magic system. Both of these games look amazing, but for entirely different reasons. Forspoken is all about wowing you with spectacle. Giant rainbows of particles dance across the screen in an elemental flurry of action. I mean, the scale of these attacks is jaw-dropping, which fits nicely with the immense sense of scope Forspoken is trying to project onto the player, but we'll get more into that later. The combat and traversal of Forspoken look to be about maintaining flow, rhythm, and excitement. I mean, this magical grapple looks like an extreme but stifled manner of web swinging from Spider-Man PS4, but since I haven't played the game, I need to remember that the Spider-Man swinging looked a lot cooler than it actually was. Don't get me wrong, I never even glanced at the fast travel button once, but it did basically boil down to holding R2 and moving in a direction. And Forspoken looks like a less dynamic version of that. Going back to the magic, Forspoken looks to be rather generically elemental, rather than arcane like Hogwarts Legacy. I suppose that's not a fair comparison, as Hogwarts Legacy already has the hard part done for it, the world building, so they're able to be laser focused on what they already understand the magic to be, while Forspoken has free reign over what it wants to do, but ends up looking more spread thin because of it, and not focusing on a few key aspects. Hogwarts Legacy is going to have a tighter upgrade tree, because the developers are forced to work within the confines set by the Wizarding World. This won't be limiting, however, as they've got dozens of sources to pull from, and limiting yourself often forces you to be more creative than if you had no rules. And I'm sure that as long as it fits within the Celtic mythology of Harry Potter, any ideas the developers have will be fair game. It won't be as spectacular as Forspoken, but my guess is that the Hogwarts Legacy spells will be more fun to use, and combat will be more demanding and intricate. Moving on to the story, which I can't talk about because I haven't seen the story, so instead I'll talk about the characters. I've already given up hope for Hogwarts Legacy to have an engaging protagonist, not because they're a silent protagonist, but because despite being a custom character, they do have a credited voice actor. No, I've given up because they don't have a name. It doesn't matter how good their performance is, without a name, everyone will inevitably fawn over me, but still refer to me as this guy. The quality of companions in Hogwarts Legacy remains to be seen, as very little of the side cast in general has been shown, but they can't possibly be worse than the Forspoken side characters. I mean, this blacksmith lady just looks and sounds terrible, and we do need to mention the elephant in the room, as it was so lovingly dubbed, the Marvel dialogue. Now, Marvel dialogue was never bad, and in fact it's what the entire film industry was chasing after, but now the public is in a cultural shift away from the poetic banter of the MCU and wants something more grounded. Now, games take much longer to make than movies, and writing a game is one of the first things you do, so Forspoken is, unfortunately, a victim of time and nothing more. That doesn't excuse how flat this protagonist looks. I mean, she'll be better than the Hogwarts protagonist because she will have some personality, but I don't expect to remember her name in a year's time. Finally, the worlds of each game. We need just to go back to my gameplay comparison to say that Forspoken is unbound by any mythology and gives Square Enix the freedom to come up with whatever they wish. But from the outside looking in, it seems that they've come up with something rather generic and not focused on a specific aspect or theme. While Hogwarts Legacy will have a much smaller map, but oh my god, will it be packed with secrets and details and all the like. I cannot wait to walk up those moving stairs and have the entire world rotate around me, placing myself in the halls of Hogwarts. A couple of these shots reveal that we're going a bit further out from Hogwarts than I'd be comfortable with, but I'm sure the Magical Academy will be packed with more secrets than 3 Breath of the Wild zones put together. Forspoken and Hogwarts Legacy isn't really a fair comparison. One of them is building from one of the most beloved and realised fantasy worlds in existence, and the other is coming from a company creeping ever closer to the soulless blockchain. It's obvious even now that Hogwarts Legacy will be the superior game, but that doesn't mean Forspoken has to, or will be, forgotten.